We want to talk to you about this morning as well, because an alarming study could be a wake-up call for parents who don't like to vaccinate their kids. Some of America's top scientists linking parents not vaccinating their children for whooping cough to outbreaks of this disease in California 3 years ago. And check out the numbers from the CDC. Reported cases of whooping cough nationally jumping from about 18,000 to 48,000 in just a year from 2011 to 2012. That's a near tripling of the cases of this disease. Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News medical A-teamer and professor of medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center, joins me now. You know, this is something, it used to be that everybody vaccinated their kids for everything. Then with the increase of cases of autism, there were some concerns that there might be a link, and you have a lot of parents opting out of vaccines. You can opt out on the school form now if you want to. What do you make of this?
I like to say that fear of the disease should outweigh fear of the vaccine, especially in this case, because whooping cough is a wildly contagious infection. And before we had the whooping cough vaccine, it was developed in the 1940s, there was 150 times more cases of it than after we got the vaccine by 1970. The resurgence is because of what you said. Parents are afraid. They're afraid, what am I putting in my child's body? This fear of vaccines has interfered with compliance. And this study out of California that looked at 2010, when there were 9,000 cases, found that you were 3 times more likely to get whooping cough in that area if you hadn't been vaccinated. And that's in keeping with what we already know. Now, we need to talk about a concept, Martha, called herd immunity. It isn't just vaccinating kids at risk. It's vaccinating everyone around them. It creates a ring of immunity. Because if it doesn't enter the house, your kid's not going to get it. Your infant's not going to get it. And we put the pertussis vaccine, the whooping cough vaccine, together with tetanus and diphtheria, so that if you haven't had it in 10 years, or you're going traveling, Martha, you're going to get it. And I want you to get it, because that'll help protect your kids.
So the issue is that it's starting to infect, as you say, an infant maybe in a house who hasn't had his shot yet is exposed to a child who comes over for a play date with the child who has had the vaccination, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, everyone looks for the characteristic whoop, like a whoop of a deep cough when you're a very young kid. But you actually can just get it with fever, malaise, a lighter cough, runny nose, not feeling like yourself. So it can be mixed up with a lot of other upper respiratory infections, and that's why it spreads. We can treat it with antibiotics, but most of the time we miss this diagnosis, which is another reason I believe in the vaccine. We don't want this spreading. It can make people sick. There's 48 million cases in the world still, and 300,000 people die every year of this, because in many areas of the world, they don't have the vaccine. We have the vaccine.
What would you tell a parent who says, I can't do it, I'm too afraid that there's a link with autism to these vaccines for my child?
Well, I have this conversation every day with parents, and what I tell them is, let's go vaccine by vaccine. You want to go over them, we'll go over them. I'll tell you why they're essential or why maybe they're not. This one is essential. This is a resurgent problem. Vaccines are the greatest invention in the history of science. They've stamped out great diseases.
Yeah, and you think about the effort that's made to vaccinate children all over the world in places where they don't have access to them, and the difference that it's making in those populations as well.
Measles, polio, smallpox, huge.
Something to think about. Doctor, thank you very much. You too.